Hello Network, here we go everybody. Happy Thursday. Let's see, connection available, are we live? Hey everybody, happy Thursday. It's May 17th with the TED Show. I'm with my friend Joe Taglia. Joe Tags, what's going on? Let us know you can hear us and see us. The lighting's really good today. We're having a little bit of a connection issue. I can tell the club's having that, so just give us a thumbs up when you get on. Hopefully they can hear us and see us, and I'm gonna go ahead and play this really fast. Hey Rob, let me know you can hear me and see me. We definitely wanna hear what, and Rick Garcia, what's up, brother? How you guys doing? All right, so we've got some people on. All right, here we go. All right, Diane Bourne, let me know you can hear me and see me. Just you guys give me a thumbs up. Nice jacket. All right, you can obviously see me. Thank you, Rob. So welcome, my friend. I'm so happy to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Look how nice he dressed. He dressed nice. Hey, Lori. So Joe is in. Thanks, Rob. Joe is in from out of town. So we're gonna hear all about his history. You can. Thanks, Diane. History, his background, and then we're gonna talk about credit, which everybody wants to run from. However, Joe makes it a way. Joe takes care of it in a way that makes it a little easier to swallow. So, welcome, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Give us your background. Tell us about you. Tell us where you're from. I think they'll be able to hear it in about 5 seconds.
I think they'll be able to guess that pretty quick.
But give us your background.
All right, I'm from the northern New Jersey area. Right now, I reside in Monmouth County. I've been in the industry for 13, 14 years. Came from a mortgage background, been doing credit for about the last 10 years.
How about, so you didn't wake up at 6 years old and decide, I want to be in the credit business?
No, actually I started on doing commodities on Wall Street, went over to mortgages, and then I transitioned in credit around 2006, 2007.
So you actually, I didn't realize this, probably should have read your bio, but I'm terrible at that. You transitioned, you were a mortgage broker, so you understand all of the pain and the craziness.
Yeah, absolutely. I came from the mortgage industry, so I understand how important credit is, especially now. It's a lot. The guidelines are a lot tighter now than they were in 2006, 2007. We all know how crazy
that is then. True. I mean, if you had a pulse, actually you probably didn't need a pulse back then. I think people got it.
They just needed a social.
Angela, hey, Willis says, what dapper gentleman. Thank you, thank you. All right, but tell us about you. So you have, you're obviously Italian.
Yes, 100%
I love it.
Italian.
100% Italian. So what was your family background? Did anybody else in the financial industry? How did you get involved?
My father was a postal worker. My mother worked for an import-export company. And I started off bartending. And I just met a lot of people, had a lot of opportunity to meet a lot of great people. And somebody got me involved in sales. They said, you'd be very good at this. And it worked out very well for us.
Most definitely. So you were a bartender. Can you still make good drinks?
Yeah, I think I can make a couple drinks. I learned more bartending than I did in any schooling, any college. It's a great way to read people, a great way to judge a character and who you're really talking to.
Hey, Rebecca Soto's on. Hey, Rebecca.
Hello, Rebecca.
Hey, guys. How are you? So that's interesting, actually, because I think bartenders are kind of like another version of psychologists. You're telling your problems to, you're kind of divulging to them something you wouldn't normally divulge to anybody else. Plus you have a cocktail in front of you, so you're feeling a little better. So what's your favorite drink to make?
Back then, I worked at a TGI Fridays. We made a lot of those crazy drinks. So I used to make good Cosmo, a good apple martini. They seemed to be the popular drinks at Fridays in 2000, 2002 era when I was over there.
And so when you get into credit, what happens? Did somebody approach you?
Yeah, I had a mortgage branch in Monmouth County, New Jersey, and somebody else who had a similar mortgage branch, the same company, said, listen, I'm over this, I'm getting into credit. I think with your personality and with your contacts, we would be very good at this. And it took a couple years to get it off the ground, but now we're doing very well. But
here's the thing. So people say that they get in, like, you obviously could sell ice to an Eskimo. I have no doubt in my mind about that. But it's still different when you're talking about credit, because people are, first of all, incredibly afraid to talk about it.
Yeah, a lot of people are scared. They don't really, they don't even know how important it is. They don't know what their score is. People think that they were one day late, they destroyed their credit. Meanwhile, you have 30 days before it even hurts you. So people are very unknowledgeable about credit. Now there's apps out there like Credit Karma. I'm not a huge fan of it, but it's great now. A lot more people know what's going on with their credit.
Are the scores, so people will come to me on the mortgage side and say, I don't want you to run my credit, Ted. I've got a Credit Karma report here and it's all good and I look amazing. And that's not always necessarily the case, right? I found that once we run credit internally, that sometimes that score is a little bit different. It picks up different things. what's going on with the credit score being different all the time?
Credit Karma is not an accurate credit score. So if you run your report on Credit Karma, you log in, and you're a 720 credit score. I'm a 720, I'm gonna get the best rate, I'm gonna go buy a car tomorrow, have the best rate. All of a sudden, Ted pulls your report, you're a 640. You're like, well, Credit Karma said I was a 720, what's going on? It's not all of your information. It only has access from the 2 credit bureaus. So it's not getting all of your information. It's a great guide, but I tell everybody, you step on a scale, you're gonna weigh 100 or 200 pounds. It's that far off. So Credit Karma, it's a great guide for somebody to have an idea of where they may be, but it's not your actual credit score.
So when people bring that, and I get a lot of questions about this, so I've got this score, Ted, or how about one of my favorite ones is, don't pull my credit, it's gonna hurt it.
Okay, yeah,
so let's talk about
that. So here's how it works. If you're shopping for a home or a car, you're allowed to pull your credit 4 or 5 different times in a 7 to 10 day grace period. You're only gonna get 1 ding. You're only gonna get that 1 hit for 1 to 4 points. But if while you're shopping for a mortgage with Ted, and you're gonna go to Nordstrom and apply for a card, you're gonna go to Sleepy's and apply for a card, you're gonna go to the cell phone store, now you're crushing your score. So when you're shopping for a car, make sure you do it within a week. Don't be the person that's gonna buy a car and wait 6 weeks and destroy their credit and run their credit every weekend. You're allowed to shop around and get the best deal for a necessity, a mortgage or a car. But again, if you're at the department store and you went to Kohl's or you went to Nordstrom's and you wanna save 10% and got a card, that hurt your credit.
Which I think people don't realize, it's the inquiry, and then let's say you open the card, then you have another line of credit that's open. So talk some base. Hey, Gina Lee, how are you? Gina Lee Duncan's on, and so are a whole bunch of people I have not acknowledged. Jack Santiago's on. So give us a little bit of an idea of how that works. So the Kohl's people come up to me at Bell's. No,
if you're running your credit, if you have 3 to 5 credit cards, you're good. There's no need to have more credit cards than that. If you have 4 or 5 credit cards and you walk into Kohl's and you have a 750 credit score and you get the card just to save 10%, you may take a little hit on your score. Just manage the card correctly. You want to keep all your credit cards at 10 to 30%. If you start maxing out all your credit cards, your score is going to drop.
Let's talk about that too, because so let's say you've got all these credit cards. It's really, I think I've found a lot of times when we're going through and we're really analyzing the credit report, people don't realize that over the limit is so impactful. It can be very impactful.
It will actually break you. If you have your credit score is a 680 and all your credit cards are maxed out, if you paid all those, say you have 4 cards and they're all maxed out, if you pay those cards down to 10 to 30%, that 680 maybe is 780, 800. It's a third of your credit score.
Wow.
So 10 to 30%, it's hard to keep your cards there. But if you keep them all at 50%, you're gonna have that A+ credit, that 751 and above credit. As long as you're a 751, you can get whatever you want. Ted's an 850, and I'm a 752, we're getting the same rate. When we walk into a car dealership, we walk into a bank. So your goal is to hit that 751, and that's all you have to, you made it. You're a 751, you made it. There's no need to be an 850. You're gonna get the best of the best.
I love that. All right, so what happens when somebody, I get a lot of questions about bankruptcy foreclosures. So people think that it's the end of their life, it's the end of the world. They're never gonna be able to get anything at all. But so talk about how bankruptcy impacts.
Once somebody's bankrupt, once they declare bankruptcy, and as soon as it's discharged, you can immediately begin working on the credit. A client comes to me, they just went through a BK. As soon as it's discharged, we can start cleaning up whatever wasn't included in the bankruptcy. And the client's going to have to get some secure credit cards. Secure credit cards is one of the best things.
Let's talk about that, because secured credit cards, people feel like, so once they've gone bankrupt, most of the time you're turning in your credit card, right? I mean, that's sort of how that works. And so people are like, God, what am I gonna do? I only have a debit card now.
Yep, or you're using the Rush card that you bought at Walmart, or you're using some Western Union credit card that's not reporting to the credit bureau.
So how do you get a secured credit card? Is that the one where you go in and you put like money into it?
Yep, so you get a secure credit card. TD Bank, where I'm at, TD Bank does it, Chase does it. I'm looking at Chase right now. Chase does it. You walk into Chase, give them $500. They will give you a credit card you could charge against your own money. Nobody knows the secure credit card except you and the bank. It doesn't say secure credit card on the credit report. I promise you, use that card for 3 to 6 months, pay it on time, your mailbox is gonna fill up with credit card offers. You're not gonna get an American Express Black Card offer, but you're gonna get small credit cards. No, they're not gonna give it to you yet. You're gonna get small credit cards and you're gonna start building your credit back up. 6 months to a year later, you'll have as many credit cards as you want.
So what happens if somebody's got, we were talking about 500 credit score, for
Yep.
example. Somebody's got 500, how low does it go? Does it go lower than that?
It goes from 350 to 850. I've never seen anybody below a 450, and I've been doing this for 10 years.
So let's say you have a 500, for example. So when you're helping them out, what you go through the credit report, and then do you identify
If somebody's
things?
a 500 credit score, they're going to need a lot of work. You know, if you're in a 500 score, there's going to be a lot of stuff on there. We'll go over everything with the client. That person definitely has no credit. Somebody with a 500 score, we're going to have to help them get a secure credit card. I would tell them to maybe get 2 or 3 secure credit cards. Get $300 on 3 different cards instead of 500 on 2
So is the
cards.
500 credit score because of their past
It's all
payment
past
history?
history. It's just past history. They probably have a ton of collections, a ton of judgments, stuff like that.
So let's talk about collections a little bit, because
Yes.
we get a lot of questions about that. So the way collections work is so that the original person who you allegedly owe money to turns it over to a collection agency. They buy it, right? Don't they buy
Yeah,
it?
so say Chase puts you in collections, and they put you in collections for $1,000. They sold that to ABC Collection Company probably for $100. So now ABC Collection Company is going to send you the threatening emails. They're going to call you, and they're going to try to collect on whatever the debt is. So they're going to say, "Hey Ted, give us $700 right now, and we'll call it a day."
Because for them, they've made a ton of money.
They're
only
going to
paying
make
$100
$600 on it,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But they're the ones that are incessantly calling people. That's what I hear a
Yeah,
lot.
they're gonna call you. You know, Kessler and Kessler, they're Pressler and Pressler. They're relentless. They'll call you. They'll threaten to garnish your wages. Just don't ignore those letters. If you start getting letters in the mail from courts and they want to garnish your pay, don't ignore them. Just respond to them.
Let's talk about that,
Yes.
because it really has to be from the court,
It has to
right?
be from the court before they garnish
So if you
anything.
get the phone call, like there's a big IRS scam going on right
they'll
now.
never call you.
The IRS will never call you,
They'll-
for the record.
Yeah,
you
they'll
guys
send
are
you a lot
getting
of
it.
certified mail, but they'll never call you.
You're gonna. The cops are on the way over to your house.
Yeah.
You're going to jail because you didn't pay your IRS bill. There are people leaving messages. I see it on social media all the time. That's fake. The IRS is not going to call you like
Nope,
that. or
everything's
threaten
done
you.
through the mail.
You're going to get a certified letter. So the same thing goes for the collection agencies. So they only have so much power until they file suit.
Yeah, once
and
they
that'll
file
be
suit.
different. You'll get served. You'll get notification that comes directly from the court, right?
Yeah, you get it from the courts, and they'll send you all the paperwork. If you ignore that paperwork, they're gonna win the judgment on you.
Never ignore the court paperwork. But I tell you that some of these, I know, I've seen it, like, because I do the mortgage stuff. So I'll look at the letters that these people are getting, and I'm amazed at how awful they are, right? Because they're trying to scare people. It's all
They're
scare.
scaring people
It's
to
a
pay.
scare
It's a
tactic.
They just want you to pay as much as possible. Hey, pay $700 right now, and we'll forget about this debt.
But the problem is, what I've experienced with a lot of my borrowers is they've paid it, and yet they've paid it, and it could still be reflected on the credit,
So-
even though they've paid it.
Say the bill was $1,000 and you settled it for $600. So either they reworded everything on the phone, like, hey, if you pay us $600, we'll make it go away. Meanwhile, they may have only put $600 towards the balance, and you may not get another call back for the remaining $400. Or it's going to say settled for less than the full amount. You never wanted to say that. You wanted to say paid as agreed. So say if you do settle with Chase, again, I'll use for an example because I'm staring at them. If you use Chase and you pay if it's $1,000 and you pay $700, say, hey, I will pay $700, but you're going to report me as paid as agreed. It makes a big difference.
Can you negotiate with them on that? Like, and how do you protect yourself? So you could say that's how it's going to be, and they're going to, honestly, they pay these people. They're basically phone room people. Nothing against phone room people, but that's
it's
who's
all
calling, right?
telemarketers,
So it's all
getting a piece and
telemarketers.
override
They
everything.
really don't have the wherewithal to do that. So how do you guarantee, or how do you protect yourself?
You're going to have to get everything in writing, save the
Okay.
copy of the check, all that. You're going to have to save everything. Hey,
Remember, it's
if you
all
pay
about
up-
being
yeah.
in writing, and you have to really get it from them, and don't allow the scare tactics. Look, let's say you owe the money, right? So collections don't just come out of thin air. So you've got a collection agency calling you. I've had it where people who thought they paid it off, the collection agency sold it then again for the balance
Yeah,
that they didn't
to another
get,
company.
and now you're getting new collection agency calls, even though you thought you had done what you were supposed to do and pay that $600 instead of the $1,000.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people get caught up in that, and and it's frustrating and it's stressful because they're relentless. They will call your office.
Yeah, they'll even call your neighbor. They'll call the people that live by you. They'll look up your address.
That's insane
They'll
to
call
me.
your neighbor. Now there's things out called spoof cards. I'm sure you got a call on your cell phone and it looked like it was your phone number or maybe your house phone
Absolutely.
number, and you picked it up and somebody's trying to sell you solar panels,
Yep.
or somebody's trying to sell you insurance or God knows what. But you know, they're using crazy tactics to get in touch with you.
So remember, you want to negotiate it, but you also want to have it in writing. Now, is that something that if a client comes to you, a person comes to you and says, Joe, I need your help, do you all help them through that process? How does that work?
Yeah, we could work with any client that's in a position to help themselves. So what I mean by that, if Teddy sends me John Smith, and John Smith was late in March, April, and May, guess what? He's gonna be late again in June. It's just gonna happen. I need that client who missed a payment a couple months ago and is back on track. If the client can help themselves, what I mean by that is just not go late on any more bills, not go and max out all their credit cards. We could walk them through the process and get them where they need to be in 5 to 7 months.
So the other question that I get a lot is, what about all the consolidation options? So if you have a whole bunch of debt and you're getting these offers to consolidate the debt into one payment, is that good, bad? How does that
That's
work?
gonna really hurt your credit. If you do some kind of debt settlement especially, if you're $100,000 in credit card debt, you're driving in the car, you listen to a commercial on one of the radio stations, hey, we can negotiate your debt to 30% of what you owe. You're like, oh, I just want $100,000 down to $30,000. Like, oh, that's great, I just saved $70,000. You're gonna get a certified letter in the mail from the IRS, and you're gonna get 1099 on everything that you saved over $1,000. They consider that income. You went on the vacations, you bought this beautiful blazer, you spent all this money. Now you're getting 1099 on the savings. So now instead of owing some collection company's money, now you owe the IRS a 1099 of $70,000.
So you have to actually include that on your tax return.
Well, they're going to send you a 1099, absolutely.
Wow.
So I'd stay away from that. There are some debt consolidation companies out there, but again, you're going to have
What
the
about
credit.
the ones where they combine all of your, so they sell it as if you're combining all of your debt into one, not necessarily negating the debt,
Yeah,
but making it one payment that's an easy, lower payment.
Yeah, but there's a lot of restrictions on that. You're not allowed to run your credit anymore. You're not allowed to accumulate any more credit. You're not allowed to use your credit cards. There's a lot of stuff that ties into that, and a lot of people just don't fit the parameters to do that.
They don't. All right, so what about ID? What about identity theft?
Identity theft right now is the largest growing crime in America. Children's identity theft is taking off.
Which is so I've actually had somebody open an account in my name, deposit like $1,000 in there, and here's the scam, guys. So they deposit $1,000. Yeah, Joe Tags from New York, Eileen.
How are you,
know
Eileen?
it. We love Eileen. Come on, Eileen. That's the joke. I can't help it. But they deposited $1,000, and then before that $1,000 somehow cleared, they withdrew 900 of it, and then the $1,000 bounced.
Yep.
And so you have to be so purposeful in watching your credit, because all of a sudden I'm getting TD Bank statements. I'm like,
Yep.
What is this? I don't have a TD Bank account.
Yeah, I'll tell you a story what happened to me. Recently, 2 years ago, my wife, we purchased a home. I went to go get Comcast cable. I've never had Comcast cable ever. They denied me. They said, you already have cable with us. That's not paid.
No way.
So I had to go, I looked into it. Somebody had a cable box in the local town, 2 towns over, that they haven't paid like 5 years ago. So I still haven't cleared it up yet. I filed all the paperwork, the fraud. That was 2 years, it's still going on. It's not on my credit report or anything, but I'm not allowed to get cable through Comcast, so I had to go and get Fios. But somebody gets your information, it's very easy to get cable in somebody's name. If you have their information, you know somebody who works at a cell phone store, you know somebody who works at a car dealership, you can get things done. People, they don't care though. Hey, give me an extra couple of bucks, I'll get you a cell phone in this person's name. The cable boxes are really what hurt a lot of people.
But why? How could they? So I'm curious for my own thing. How is it that TD Bank allowed them to open an account in my name, by the way, with my address?
Their friend
so
maybe their friend worked at TD Bank.
it's got to be an inside job. Is that just? Oh my
Or they
God,
just they made a fake ID. They did something, or they knew somebody.
Don't
there.
they check this stuff?
They should.
Why is that not? And so that then, instead of them being culpable, then they're going to, honestly, and they haven't yet, but they're going to, if I don't fix this, they're going to report me with my social security number as delinquent to check systems,
and you won't be
then
able to open
I
a
won't be
checking
able to
account.
open,
Yep.
exactly. And that's my thing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So I'm having to defend myself. So talk a little bit about, so we've got identity theft.
If you do have identity theft happens to you, you need to file a police report automatically.
Oh, talk about that, because that's the first time
If
I've heard that.
somebody gets your credit card, or somebody runs up credit, you get your credit report, and all of a sudden you have 5 credit cards at Best Buy, Walmart, Home Depot, and Lowe's, and you never had these cards, go to the police department immediately, file a police report. It's a process, but it will come off your report. That could really mess you up from getting a mortgage or getting anything. So if you have any type of identity theft, if your cousin stole your social and co-signed for you, that's on you if you want to go and tell on them and call the police. But if somebody has any kind of identity theft, you need a police report. Nobody's going to listen to your story. They don't care. They need to see a police report.
I guess I have to file a police report.
And where you live, you just go to the police department.
So crazy.
It's not going to be an easy process. They're not
Rebecca, you're right. There has to be regulations on that. So talk about how there are a lot of like Legal Shield has their own.
Yeah, there's Legal Shield.
So people want to know, are they legit? Like I've had a great experience on a few things legal wise. For Legal Shield, but the identity theft, does that really protect you if you have that service?
It's going to protect you. Again, it's still going to be a nightmare, but at least you have their support, and their people will deal with the nonsense, will deal with all the paperwork, will file everything for you. Like Credit Karma, as much as I don't like it for the credit scores being so inaccurate, if you have any kind of credit alert, I think Credit Check Total is the best. You pay $9, $10 a month for it. Credit Sesame and Credit Karma, they're free for a reason because they resell your data. But even if you get them for free, they're good, because if I'm sitting here and my phone goes off and thank you for getting a Home Depot card, I'm like, hold on, I'm in Orlando with Ted. How did I just get a Home Depot card?
Surprise!
They're alerting you if you get any type of new credit. So that's a great way to monitor your credit. But if you're in a good position, you have your home, you have your car, you don't need any credit cards, lock your social. Call the credit bureaus, pay $15 per bureau, and lock it.
What do you mean by lock it?
You can call and put a passcode on. I'm sure you ran somebody's credit before and it just came up blocked. And then you got to put their 4-digit PIN in to access it. So you block your credit. This way, if they do have your social, they can't do anything with it.
Wait, Joe, I didn't know about this. So is there a site that they go to?
Yeah, you'd have to contact the credit bureaus directly and just say, I want to freeze my social. And then nobody would be able to run your credit.
What's the most common mistake, do you think, that people make either trying to fix their credit or while they're doing credit?
People try to fix their credit themselves. Would you go outside and fix your own brakes? Most likely you're not going to do your own brakes. If you got a ticket, would you represent yourself in court? No. Let a professional handle it. You can read stuff online, do this, do that, but just hire a professional and let them do what they do and let them fix your credit for you. That's what we do. That's what we've been doing for 12 years. So we definitely can walk you through the process and get you where you need to be.
What about loan modifications?
If the client has a modification, you're going to have so many late payments on your mortgage. You're not doing a modification and not missing a payment.
Right.
You're going to do a modification and you're going to be late on 20 mortgage payments.
Does it take it? So when the loan mod's gone in, does it remove do they change the late payments backdated?
So as soon as the loan is modified, if you were late for a year, because sometimes it could take that long to modify your loan, you're going to have 36 late payments on your credit report. That's going to be very hard to bounce back from.
But it doesn't remove it.
No, the lates will never be removed.
Look how
what's going on, Brandon? How are you?
What's up? Annette, another good Italian name. Very
Brandon,
informative.
what's going on?
What's up? Allegedly, that's just juice, Brandon. I promise. All right, so we're going to share all of Joe's contact information, how to reach out to him. How to utilize his service, which obviously he knows he's so good, right? We had tons and tons of comments about how informative this was. Any parting words of wisdom, anything you want them to know that they should change or
absolutely.
They should look at?
Everybody needs to set up all of your bills on auto pay. If you're not doing that now, you're crazy. There's great apps out there called Mint. You could do it through your banking. Set up every one of your bills on auto pay. This way you'll never miss a payment.
Why is that? So it's because of the payment, missing the payment.
Yeah, if you go 31 days late on one bill, it's financial suicide.
Do you know why I believe people still have PTSD from like the Bally's and the healthcare places from auto pay? And so people are so weird about not going on auto pay. But it's beneficial. I mean, you have
set up every one of your bills with your minimum payment. And you could always log back in and change the payment, but this way you're never gonna miss a payment. If you go 31 days late, it could be a $5,000 a month mortgage. It could be Ted's Nordstrom bill that he forgot to pay for $4.
Ouch. It's
that same 70 to 100 point hit on your credit. So put everything on auto pay. You'll never miss a payment that way. That's one thing. If you take from that, keep your credit cards at 10 to 30%. And put everything on auto pay, and you'll be in good shape.
That means 10 to 30%
of the
high limit. So pay it down and use his formula, 10 to 30%. You don't necessarily also have to pay it off. So you have to balance out. So if you've got 10 credit cards, for example, and all 10 of them are maxed, really, that's why you need to work with a professional like Joe, so he can guide you through it. Don't do it, mine, Don't do it on your own. There's a method to the madness of how you get your credit score up and what makes it go down. And so you want to talk to somebody who understands that, because you think you know, but I promise you, you don't. You really don't. So you've been a joy, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
awesome.
having me. I'll put all my contact information
We're
in the
going to do
comments.
it. That was so good. So good. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. See you tomorrow. Love you guys.
Take care.